1, 2, 3, 4.
Chant down Babylon kingdom. Team make me chant down Vatican now. Bang bling bling chant down Babylon kingdom. Team make me chant down Vatican now. Chant down Babylon kingdom. Team make me chant down Vatican now. Bang bling bling chant down Babylon kingdom. Team make me chant down Vatican now.
What up, y'all? It's Babylon 5 Podcast. It's your boy, Jermaine Babbles. Happy Krampus Schnat to all you, everyone who celebrates, everyone who rocks with Krampus. Shout out to you all. Happy Krampus Schnat. Happy days of celebration. Happy Saturnalia to all those who practice. This is the Babylon 5 Podcast. It's your boy Jermaine Babbles. I was saying to my boss the other day, he was asking me if I do like big things for like Christmas, and I was like, nah, bro, like I don't do things for Christmas or any holidays. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know how much more. I wasn't trying to be that blatant at first, but it was like, damn, that was pretty blatant. And I don't know how much more blatant it could be that just a nigga ain't religious. You know what I'm saying? And to the point where, like, I don't know, you know what I'm saying? I don't celebrate any holidays, if you really think about it. I don't really celebrate any of that shit, but I thought that was funny the other day. I was like, nah, bro, I'm weird. I don't celebrate none of that. I don't celebrate anything. He's like, nothing? I was like, Halloween, bruh. I celebrate Halloween, the ones that I think are cool. The one that I think is cool, you know? The one day that I think that motherfuckers put on this calendar for no reason, for these made up amount of fucking days and years. I know it's like, you know what I'm saying? It's not like actually the year 2021. You know what I'm saying? It's like there was plenty years before that we're just like, well, whatever. It went a different way at that point. Let's just not talk about that. Let's not talk about that. This is episode 120. We're calling this episode No Pigeons. You know, random side note, every time I go to Chicago at this point, I'm like, pigeons. Fucking pigeons. When I was younger, I felt like there were fucking pigeons all over Milwaukee, especially the downtown area. Me being an inner city kid, I'd encounter fucking flocks of pigeons all the time. But like, as an adult, I'm like, where the fuck are the pigeons? Where are the fucking pigeons? My wife takes me out for dinner, for birthday dinner. We go to this fancy place called North Pond. They do the like pre-fee kind of thing. It was similar to this restaurant I was trying to take my wife. I forget what the place is called. Some place in Bayview. It was like next door to the Oriental, or not the Oriental, whatever, the Avalon. Next door to the Avalon. It was connected to the Avalon. And there was some restaurant that had the courses and wine pairings. And, yeah. So it was some shit like that. One of the courses I got was fucking squab. That was pretty cool. It was probably my second favorite dish out of everything I had. Favorite dish was the first dish, which was like a sweet potato soup that also had, Japanese yams. Nigga, I fucking love Japanese yams. They're just creamy as fuck. I love Japanese yams. If you look up the description of what Japanese yams taste like, they fucking lying to you. The thing I saw, it said like it was like starchy. It was like super starchy and less flavorful than like a white potato or some shit like that. Like that's what it said online. But I had already bought, like the first time I bought them, I was like, they look interesting. And then I was like, what do they taste like? And somebody had compared it to a fucking just Idaho potato. Just super starchy, but like less flavorful than a fucking baker potato. I was like, damn, that's whack. But I was like, I already got it, so we finna make it. And we made some fucking, I think we made some fries out of it. And I was like, whoa, these are super creamy. These are tasty. What's going on here? They're lying to you. I love Japanese yams. So that was in the first soup. I also had some, what's that shit? Some roe, some salmon roe. All kinds of shit in there, man. It was super flavorful. Pretty flavorful. They come over, they fucking pour this soup over the fucking... It was a nori custard. And all the salmon roe and all this other shit. Then they pour the fucking sweet potato soup like over this shit. They drown it in this sweet potato soup. It was a cool ass place. Alright? It was a ball ass place. It was my birthday celebration. They brought me a menu that had my name on it. It said Happy Birthday Jermaine on the top of it. But my second course was squab, which my wife and I, as we were eating it, we're like, oh, it's pretty tasty, pretty tender, real tender, pretty tasty. It's like dark red meat. But we were like, what is it? And I was like, I think it's a bird. I thought it was a bird when I ordered it. It sounded like a bird to me. And then, like, later on in the night, I, like, Googled it. And it turns out that squab, what I was eating, just so happened to be young pigeon. They sell it at fancy restaurants for however much you're willing to pay. But they will sell you young pigeon. And it's pretty tasty. It's dark red meat, super tender. Yeah, it's pretty tasty, man, if they cook it right. If they know how to cook that pigeon, you're going to have some good-ass pigeon. So that's why this episode is called No Pigeons. Well, one, because I don't see pigeons anymore. Then I go to Chicago. I'm eating squab. Later on that night, I Google, like, what is squab? And I'm like, oh, shit, pigeon. That's random. Then the next day, we go to this fucking, like, Delta 8 cafe. And when we're leaving the cafe, we turn the corner to where the car is, and there's just, like, a fucking flock of fucking pigeons. And from where we were, we turned, like, almost right into them. They weren't there when we came by, because we walked down that street. But as we're coming out, fucking flock of pigeons. And then some start to fly, so I'm like, fuck, we're about to get shit on, or something like that, and I'm like, fuck, I haven't had this feeling since I was a child, when we used to see pigeons everywhere. I used to feel like, fuck, I'm about to catch a fucking shower of shit, real quick. That's what I thought all the time as a child with these fucking pigeons, man. There'd always be bird shit everywhere, but now I usually see, like, maybe one or two seagulls, whole lot of crows somewhere sometimes. Not too many pigeons in Milwaukee, but whenever I go to Chicago, I see pigeons. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I can say when I go to Chicago, I fucking eat pigeon. Ladies and gentlemen, this should be called Some Pigeon. Because I ate some pigeon, and I wasn't complaining. I didn't know it was pigeon at the time. I did not know it was pigeon at the time. I was eating it and I was really confused because it's dark red. You know what I'm saying? And I ordered it and I thought I was like squab. I see it how it's prepared. And I'm like, that sounds like a bird. And it turns out to be pigeon, but the meat is dark red. So I didn't know what it was before I Googled it. So when it comes and it's so dark red, super tender, I'm like, what the fuck am I eating? You know what I'm saying? I was mind fucked while I'm eating it. Because then they put the legs or some shit at the end with bones. To me, they were like trying to set it up in like a bird-like way. But I was like, this dark red ass meat, like what the fuck am I eating right now? Turns out it was them same pigeons that I was worried about as a young boy. Same pigeons. Maybe you can get squab in Milwaukee, but nowhere I've been so far have they offered me squab. This place, they're bringing niggas hors d'oeuvres and bread. We've been to the place we went in Denver. There was a guy coming with bread. Fucking super it was a bread guy. Came with bread and and butter and shit. It was pretty cool. Anywho. But Chicago was cool for what it was. We ended up coming back early, actually. I don't know, you know, we're getting older, ladies and gentlemen. And it was like the niggas staying in the apartment above us were throwing like a party. I mean, they were throwing a party, maybe I guess the pregame, super loud before. When we first showed up, they were partying. And then, you know, later on is the after party. After the party is the after party. And after the party is the hotel lobby. So it was just like super fucking loud. And the next day, I don't know, it just seemed like niggas was doing a lot of running around up there. A lot of fucking errands. A lot of niggas was showing up. A lot of motherfuckers was showing up. More motherfuckers was showing up. And we was like, yo, nigga, let's just get out of here. That's what let's just get out of here. Went to Medieval Times. Checked that out for a bit. Ate some food. You know what I'm saying? That's a pretty interesting thing. I think it would have definitely been doper if you're young, you know, if you're a child. I think it's for children, definitely. Which, you know, I'm watching the movie, and it's, you know, as I'm saying, like when I've seen it, it was in the movie. It was the two niggas, they go, and I didn't understand just, you know, how obnoxious it was that they would have went there. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe it was a bit obnoxious that they went there. But, yeah, it was pretty cool. Good-ass chicken. Good-ass fucking, good-ass food. I'll say that much. Good-ass food. The horses was doing fucking trots and shit. And my nigga, I'm saying, like, that's some good-ass entertainment right now. How many times do you see some clan horses fucking trotting? You know what I'm saying, my nigga? As I'm watching the fucking knights and their fucking hooderies and their different colors and the horses are dressed up, I look over to my wife, I'm like, this look like some clan shit. And the clan horses, they take off the hoods, and they had the horse, they took off the clan hoods, and they had the horses come around and trotting, just doing these different trots. But that shit looked like it looked like a fucking clan rally. I'll tell you niggas what. I'll tell you niggas what. Looked like a fucking clan rally in there. But the cool shit them horses could do was pretty dope. They were doing these pretty cool trots. And I was saying to my wife, because I'm the most paranoid motherfucker you will ever meet. I'm super paranoid about everything. And I'm like, dude, if one of these horses fucking just decides to rampage, it'll get like at least 4 of us before anybody could do anything about it. I think 4 is being modest. You know what I'm saying? I think 4 is being very modest. This is a fucking fast. I'm looking at the fucking. These are trained animals. Well kept. Fucking trained animals. Training all the time. They're fucking walking on their hind legs when just by this command that they know. You know how much hard training went in to get into that. I'm looking at these horses in phenomenal shape. And I was just thinking, if one of these horses went on a rampage, there's nothing pretty much anyone could do, other than the people who probably have, hopefully that work there, have tranquilizers or some shit. But it was funny because after I said that, like, one of the horses came like kind of like right toward the barricade and got right up to it and then just like turned right at the last second. I was like, that's just real funny that they just took that moment right there to walk right over this direction. Then they throw a fucking hawk, my nigga. They throw a fucking hawk. They're like, don't stand up. Don't try to get its attention. And, like, meanwhile, other niggas is just walking around going to the bathroom. So I'm like, does this hawk just not give a fuck? Or what's going on? Because at this point, when I'm seeing these people just walk around, I want the hawk to be like, Gah! And get in there. You know what I'm saying? That's what I wanted from that hawk. But the hawk didn't give me the action that we came for. Y'all said it was a dangerous hawk. Don't stand up. Don't try to get its attention. That hawk wasn't worried about us, young man. That hawk didn't try to swoop in and get my tomato soup. That was some good-ass soup. That young hawk didn't swoop in and try to get my... Well, they brought the hawk in, did the flying around thing, and then they took it out of there, and then they brought out all the chicken. It was like, all right, now y'all can have the meat. Now we got this bird done flying around this whole fucking place. But no, it's a pretty cool thing, man. Like, especially if you're younger, check out. Take somebody younger if you have kids to medieval times, man. Just like the shit with the horses, I'm saying they got a fucking hawk that flies around. It's pretty fucking cool. And the food's not too shabby. The food is not too shabby. So, if you guys want to follow this podcast, I'll say that in a second. First off, I want to say thank you to my lovely wife for the trip, for the great weekend, you know. Thank you to my lovely, lovely wife. Now, if you guys want to follow this podcast, you can go ahead and do that at Babylon5Pod. You can follow my personal account at My Name's Jermaine. You can email this podcast at Babylon5podcast@gmail.com. You could listen to this podcast. Nah. I'm sorry. I'm like clearing my throat, but then I was like, you could listen to this podcast. And I was like, that's wrong. If you guys would like to follow this podcast, if you listen to this podcast and you're like, damn, I fucks with this, maybe I'd help with his algorithms a little bit if I followed this guy everywhere. You know, follow me on Spotify. Whatever you listen to this, like, favorite this podcast, favorite this episode that you're listening to. They started with like these podcast algorithms on Spotify. One email I was just reading. So if you're definitely listening to this on Spotify, do what you can to like help your boy blast up those algorithms. So if you guys would also like to follow this podcast on Podbean, it'd be at babylon5.podbean.com. You can listen to this podcast pretty much everywhere, man. If you guys are listening, as I said, on Spotify, do everything you can to just let people know that you fucks with this podcast. I appreciate you guys so much if you fucks with this podcast. If that's the way you listen to it, let the folks know. Let the folks know. Get your boy added on these playlists. That would be phenomenal for you guys. But you know, because this is what I was thinking. I could go down this list right now of places that you could listen to this podcast, but who am I telling that to? Who the fuck would hear those words and be like, oh shit, I could be listening to this on the service that I use? No, you'll never get to that point. You'll already be listening to it on the service that you use. Alright, it's available everywhere. Alright, search the podcast, but especially. As for right now, if you guys listen to the podcast on Spotify, you know, just like do what you can just to get those algorithms going. To fuck this what am I trying to say here? Let's impregnate the algorithm with an influx of love. That's what I'm trying to say to you guys. Let Spotify know you fucks with the Babylon 5 podcast. And if you guys are on Twitch, go ahead and follow me at twitch.tv/Babylon5. You can go ahead right now, buy some merchandise. Go to teespring.com/stores/BOFpod-shop. Head on over to patreon.com/Babylon5pod. You can be my patron today. I didn't raise the tiers, but one of these days, they're going to be risen. And you're going to be like, he has risen. And I'm going to be like, I told you niggas. I told you, Niji. Them prices was going up. I said, get in on it before them prices go up. And we'll be like, damn. I was late to that episode, my nigga. I was doing some shit. There was shit going on in my life that I asked how you guys are doing. If I didn't, I'm sorry. How's your week been? It's December. How's your year been? I hope everything's been cool. If they haven't, I hope 2022 is ready to bring everything around for you. That's what I hope for you all. No matter what it takes, whatever it takes, I know you can make it through. You know, speaking of whatever it takes, UFC President Dana White and his whole family recently tested positive for COVID-19 after having a family gathering in Maine, apparently, for Thanksgiving. Apparently, just this morning I see that Dana White claims that he and his whole family are COVID-free. They went with the advice of Joe Rogan and did like whatever the antibodies thing that they needed. They took ivermectin and something else. And apparently it cleared it up in about 5 days. Is what they're claiming. I'm saying, like, fuck. If you guys feel that somehow worked for you and you needed to do that, I don't know, whatever it takes, my nigga, whatever it takes, I know you can make it through. It's what the celebrities do. Apparently even this is what Aaron Rodgers did. I didn't even know that. You know, you niggas know I don't be watching football like that. I don't be watching football like that no more. Apparently this nigga Aaron Rodgers, when he got COVID, he did the whole ivermectin cocktail. And that's how he ended up getting back on the field, taking fucking ivermectin off of the advice of fucking Joe Rogan. This episode was going to be called BoJack Rogan 2, but once I realized that I was eating pigeon and there was pigeons all over Chicago, just like loose pigeons and I'm ordering pigeon off a menu, and that there was no pigeons in Milwaukee as far as I see, I was like, well, yeah, there's got to be no pigeons. But off the advice of Dr., quote-unquote, Dr. Rogan, I think it was a joke that Dana White was saying Dr. Rogan. But he did do those things, apparently. And he was saying that Joe Rogan was a genius. It's pretty weird, man. Whatever it takes, man. Whatever it takes. Pretty interested. Pretty interested in their reasoning. For taking experimental drugs while refusing to take experimental drugs. I would like their explanation. Explain that shit to me. Why are you taking those drugs based off of what this random person said, and yet you won't take these drugs based off of what these random people who get paid to tell you these things, and not that guy. These guys get paid to tell you to take these random drugs, not that guy. But you're like, well, he said that, and I think he's pretty funny sometimes. He knows a lot about a guillotine. He can teach you a lot about a spinning sidekick. All right? He can teach you a lot about a spinning sidekick. I just need to know, what is the explanation for wanting to try experimental drugs while arguing against experimental drugs? Well, shouldn't you be against all of those things? You shouldn't be like, no, I'm going to try this. You should be like, no. Nothing is proven, especially with that. There's no trials of people taking that fucking cocktail and shit. That's word of mouth. That's fucking far less reliable than these people who are actually having trials. What is your reasoning for taking this literal fucking suggestion from a guy? This experiment, because you don't want to take experimental drugs, you're going to take fucking non-experiment. You're experimental. You're the experiment. You're the experiment. You're literally the experiment. These were experimental drugs as they were doing the test naturally. And at this point, it's been FDA approved. But if you guys are taking this cocktail, this suggested cocktail, this randomly suggested cocktail, you are the fucking experiment. You're the experiment. That's the experimental drug, and you are the experiment. That's what that is. There's no difference. I guess it's choose your own adventure. What is your adventure? But you are the experiment. And we just had UFC Vegas 44, ladies and gentlemen. UFC Vegas 44, ladies and gentlemen. It's in it. They in their 40s, all right? In their 40s. Since, speaking of in their 40s, let me rewind for a second here. Let me just pause. Or actually, let me fucking digress off of UFC, because they in their 40s, ladies and gentlemen. I watched the latest fucking episode of South Park. I didn't take any notes on this, but that shit's fucking hilarious, my nigga. They're in their 40s now. They were 9, and now they've advanced 40 years. And these is 49. All the older people are in old folks' homes or dead. It's pretty hype. I don't even want to spoil the shit, but like, they're in their 40s, ladies and gentlemen. They're in their fucking 40s. Okay? They're in their fucking 40s and it's dope. But you gotta have Paramount Plus. You can get a 30-day trial. That's what we're on. Apparently there's like new episodes of Reno 911. They got everything back. All the shows that fucking you like used to like that were on Hulu, that were on Netflix, now you're like, damn, what happened to all these shows? They're all on Paramount Plus and they got new seasons. New seasons of random ass shows. You're like, that's not back. And you're like, wait, no, there's 5 new seasons of that show? With the original cast? It's all on Paramount Plus. Random as fuck. Random as fuck. How are y'all? I thought this just started. I had never even heard of Paramount Plus. Y'all niggas got new seasons of shows I used to watch back in elementary school? They got new episodes of Reno 911. Alright? They got new episodes of Reno 911. Just to say, fucking, just check it out. Just check it out. They got new episodes of shit. Random shit you used to watch as a child. But back to the regularly scheduled programming. UFC Vegas 44, headlined by Rob Font versus Jose Aldo. My prediction last week was I went with Jose Aldo. I felt like, as I said, I felt like Jose still right now is better than most of the top 15, and that I felt like he would be too much for Rob Font. And you know, early on in the first round, Rob Font is coming hard. He's got all his pressure. He's all over Jose. Jose is not able to get started because he's just all over him. Like 1-2, 1-2. He like 1-2, move, 1-2, move. Just like he just keep, like he wouldn't stop to just like look for openings. It's just like he'd touch him up once or twice, like head, move, touch him, body, like head, like immediately, like no breaks. He just all over him and moving, 1-2, move, 1-2, move, 1-2, move, 1-2, all over. Although couldn't like get started, he's just backing up, just getting hit, and then like with maybe 10 seconds fucking left in the round, Aldo fucking hurts Rob Font, like maybe even drops him. It's kind of murky to me when I was looking at the replay. He hurts Rob Font, gets him to the ground, and he like almost finishes him at the end of the first round. So I gave that round to Aldo, and then pretty much every round I gave to Aldo after that, because it's pretty much that story. Font would start with overwhelming volume, and then Aldo's power, he would just hurt him. Second round, hurt him with the right. Every time he lands on it, it just like fucking, like really would hurt Rob Font. Then round 3, finally, Aldo starts fucking landing these leg kicks that are just really fucking up Font. And then he's just hurting him with this right hand. He just keeps hurting him. And the judges give it unanimously to Jose Aldo. Aldo calls out TJ Dillashaw for a fight. And why not? Book it. You still got to have Petrion versus Aljamain Sterling. So go ahead. And I kind of still don't want to see Jose Aldo versus Petrion right now. Maybe I want to see him versus TJ Dillashaw. Give him one more fight in this better style. Let me see him like really commit to utilizing the leg kicks. And then I'll see him against Petrion. Alright? But Jose Aldo looked fantastic, and as I said, he's still better than most of the top 15. I didn't feel like Rob Font was going to be too much of a problem for him, and the volume was an issue, but the second he decided to come forward and throw, Rob Font pretty much had nothing for Jose Aldo. Jose was slipping that jab and then countering with a right. And in the second round, he was countering with that leg kick. He was just well studied in his preparation, well prepared, well prepared. But hats off to Font for trying. He's trying his ass off to win that fight, but as I said, Aldo's just too good. The gap is too far. As I said, leaps and bounds last week. The gap is just too far for those two gentlemen. It's going to be that way for Aldo and a lot of the people there. That's what I'm saying. When my boy Landon was hyped for Aldo versus Vera, and he thought Vera was going to beat Aldo, I was like, are you out of your mind? I was like, first off, he has no business being here. Like, he shouldn't have beat O'Malley. So he shouldn't even be in there with fucking Jose Aldo in his next fight. And even with that, like, even the fact that they put him in there, like, Jose's fucking leaps and bounds better than most of the top 15, let alone this guy who got lucky and stumbled upon a fucking Jose Aldo fight that he was hoping could change his career. But no. But no. All right, so you had Brad Riddell versus Rafael Fiziev. And as I was saying last week, I wasn't too familiar with Brad Riddell going into this, but shit. Them boys went to war, all right? Right away, it's like they're throwing all power. I was watching videos, people talking. I didn't watch any videos of how Brad Riddell fights. I was just watching people talk about it. And they were like, dude, he's going to tire himself out because he just throws full power from the get-go. And then he'll probably slow down in the third. And sure enough, it was full power from the get-go. It was fucking chess match. They're both like, I think Brad Riddell was the Muay Thai coach at Tiger Muay Thai. That when he stepped down, Fiziev took over. Took the job over that he left. So there was a very technical fight on the feet that Fiziev ended up winning via TKO in the third fucking round. He did a spinning heel kick that caught Brad Riddell on the chin that just froze him up, and Herb Dean rushes in and saves him. But it was a fantastic fight. Apologize to Brad Riddell for being unfamiliar before this, but he is now 10-1, and Fiziev, or 10-2, and Fiziev is 11-1. I told you somebody's one had to go. I guess it was Brad Riddell's, as he loses via TKO in a fantastic fight, dude. It's a great fight between those gentlemen, man. I thought it was a third round. I thought it was gonna go to decision, but I think I still had it scored for Fiziev. So, I mean, whatever. I didn't score it at that point. I only scored the main event just to have a memento because it's 5 rounds. So Jimmy Crute versus Jamal Hill, as I said, everything in me was telling me that Hill was going to win that fight. Hill knocks Crute out in 48 seconds, dude. That man has some very heavy hands. 48 seconds, he just fucking... Crute's face was absolutely wrecked. He had to be rushed I'm pretty sure he needed to be rushed to the hospital after that fight. He probably took 2 punches to the face. His nose looked fucking broken, and his right eye, or one of his eyes was swelled shut. All right, one eye swelled shut, and his nose was broken, knocked out. All right, This dude, Jamal Hill, has insane power. Insane power. He's on the rise. I mean, there are ways to test him, as we've seen. He lost his fight coming, like, prior to this. Both gentlemen were coming off of losses and with injuries. But Jamal Hill came back and showed that he still has that fucking Herculean power. He just wrecks Crude's face. I was like, when I see his face, and then they read off in 48 seconds, I'm like, no way, 48 seconds? The fight had to be longer than that. Like, it felt like the fight was longer than that, to be honest. Just to say, I was like, that was only 48 seconds? It just didn't feel that way. But Hill calls out either Paulo Costa or Johnny Walker, dude. I'd love to see that Johnny Walker fight. I don't see Paulo realistically fighting a real light heavyweight contender. Maybe Costa, I don't know, maybe he fights like St. Preux. I think Costa will fight St. Preux. I think that's his next fight, if he wants to fight a light heavyweight. But you know what's crazy? No, I ain't even finna talk about that. I was gonna talk about this whole Nate Diaz thing, but at the end of the day, Nate Diaz is scared. He's scared of Khamzat Chimaev, and that's just what it is. Shout out to Sergio Pettis, who defended his belt. I was watching this fight. I forget the name. His name is Hachigori. Forget the full name, but this guy was all over Sergio Pettis, like just dominating Sergio Pettis. And then in the fourth round, Sergio throws a head kick. This guy ducks under it, and then Sergio throws a spinning back fist that just catches this guy perfectly on the chin, knocks him out cold. It's beautiful to watch. Shout out to Sergio Pettis, kid from Milwaukee, hometown hero. Shout out to Sergio. I was saying he's no longer the little brother. He's just the brother. All right, no longer little bro. He proved that who he is, man, in typical Pettis fashion. All right, gets that comeback knockout, that potential highlight of the year knockout. That's typical Pettis fashion, man. But yeah, I'm definitely interested in seeing his next fight. That was very phenomenal. He's making a star. They're making a name for himself. A star is rising, I would say. Shout out to Sergio Pettis. Next week we have the UFC 269, Vegas. This is a pay-per-view that is next. We got UFC 269, headlined by Charles do Bronx Oliveira versus Dustin Poirier. You know, I'm fans of both fighters. I don't really be hating on too many fighters. I don't really fuck with Sean O'Malley. I'm not gonna talk about his fight. But yeah, I don't be hating on too many fighters. And I fucks with Poirier and I fucks with Oliveira. But as you guys know, I'm a huge Oliveira fan. I picked Oliveira to be the champion at the end of the year. Looking at the weight class, if you guys remember a year ago in my end of the year episode, I said that Charles Oliveira would be the next light heavyweight champion. I wasn't aware that he wasn't going to have a chance to fight Khabib. I said he was going to be the next champion. So, and he is the champion now. So I was right on that. I didn't know in which route it was going to happen, but I knew that he would be the next man holding that belt. Well, I think I did know. I think Khabib probably had already retired by that point, and they were trying to get him to just fight one more fight. But, like, I knew Charles was going to beat I felt like Charles could beat Dustin Poirier. I felt like Charles could beat Justin Gaethje. I felt like Charles could beat everybody. I feel like Charles can beat Conor McGregor. I feel like he's the best light heavyweight. I still feel that way. So I feel like he wins this fight. I feel like he may, in 5 rounds, finish Dustin Poirier. I think he'll finish Dustin Poirier. So I'm definitely going with Charles Oliveira in this one. People are like doubting Oliveira, and it's crazy to me because I really feel like I felt this way last year, as I said in my end of the year episode, and I felt like Oliveira was going to be the champion. I felt like he was the best light heavyweight on the roster. I felt like he could have beat Khabib. I felt like he had the best chance out of everybody in the division at that point. I felt like he had the best chance to beat Khabib. I mean, now we'll never know, but yeah, definitely sticking with Charles Du Bronx Oliveira and Still. You got Amanda Nunes versus Juliana Pena. I'm Nunes all day, as you guys should know. Pena fucking got this shot off pure delusion. Pure delusion. I'm watching a fucking countdown. They mentioned that fucking Pena was calling for a title shot since Ronda Rousey was champion. Now, mind you, she's never, as far as I recall, maybe like she was kind of buzzing back in the day before she like left with injuries, and then she came back. Started to maybe get a win or two here, but then every time they're like, all right, she's on the cusp, she'll lose that fight. So she's not able to beat those top contenders to where it's like, yo, she's next in line. There's never been a conversation that I recall where it was like, yo, she's obviously next in line. I just remember she showed up on an interview with Ariel, I believe. I believe it was Ariel. I could be wrong on that. And just started saying that that Amanda Nunes was ducking her, and she knows that if she fights her, she's gonna lose, and that's why she won't fight her. And it's like, dude, who's even talking about this fight? You're not nowhere. You can't. You fought de Randamie, got choked out. Like every time you start to come up to a point where like, yo, if you beat de Randamie and then said, yo, she won't fight me, people would have been like, oh shit, she's scared of Pena. But you lost when you got that higher up, and then de Randamie beat you and was calling for a title shot, hasn't gotten it, and so she got this belt. She got this title shot off of pure delusion. Talking about motherfuckers are ducking you. Nobody's ever mentioned your names in the same sentence until you brought it up. It was newsworthy because it was like, whoa, where did this come from? Where did this come from? Where did this guy that just lost on the Contender Series, just out of nowhere, just get the gall to claim that Kamaru Usman is ducking him? You just lost on the Contender Series. You're not even under contract. What are you talking about? I know that's like me. I'm saying that's pretty ridiculous, but it's just like nobody's sitting here like, are there any articles that people are like, why won't Amanda Nunes fight Juliana Pena? Like before she brought that up, where were the articles? Where were people saying, why won't she fight her? Is she afraid to fight Juliana Pena? Why won't she sign the contract? It was never a fucking subject to conversation. All right? Nobody had ever mentioned it. I was fucking shocked when they booked this fucking fight. Because it was like, whoa, bro. When she was saying it, she was like, they were like, why are you I believe it was Ariel. He was like, why are you the number one contender? And she was like, well, who else is there? Who else is there? And he was like, dude, she's nuts. She's like, who else is there? Maybe like there's like I think at the time there's like 5 or 6 other people ahead of her. Like either of these people, like fight one of those people, and then if you could win that fight, then maybe. But there was like, you're not in the, I believe she wasn't even in the top 5 at the time. And the only time that she fought any of those people who were in the top 5, she lost. And then had you won that fight, you would have had the claim to the top 5. You know? I mean, to the fucking call something. I'm in the top 5. Fight me. Why won't you fight me, champion? But instead, you had to just out of nowhere have an interview where you're like, she's scared to fight me. She's ducking me. And the interviews are like, well, why are you the number 1 contender? Well, who else is there? Any of the people who are ranked above you. There's a lot of people. But I'm Nunes all day in this one. Especially off the fact, I mean, you know, anybody's got a puncher's chance. Anybody's got a jiu-jitsuer's chance. You know what I'm saying? If something crazy happens, maybe Juliana Pena could be like, I told you so. She was scared to fight me. I was the one that could beat her. Maybe that could randomly happen. I don't think it will. I think she gets her ass beat in there. And it's like, well, it looks like you probably shouldn't have thrown this random person who just claimed the champion, who gets sent contracts, all right, of the people who are next in line. She lost to De Randamie. I doubt she's getting sent contracts with Juliana Pena. Or she's just like, no, I won't fight her. I guarantee she's not, until that interview where this girl just claimed that, like, yo, she's scared to fight me. Until that interview, she probably was never offered Pena. And then when she was offered Pena, she was like, okay, I'll sign that contract. She signed it immediately. She's about to dominate. That's my prediction. Then you got Kai Kara France taking on Cody Garbrandt. Garbrandt. And Garbrandt, it is his first fight at 125, man. If you guys remember, he left for a while after proving to be pretty chinny. Getting knocked out a few times. About 3 times in a row, if I recall. Got knocked out about 3 times. Straight. And then he got beat up by Rob Font in his last fight. And now he's moving down a weight class to 125. When TJ Dillashaw moved down to 125, we all remember that. He was knocked out pretty quickly. So we'll see what happens with Kai Kara France. I'm going with Kai. I think Kai will have, the volume, the power. I think he's just a better striker than Garbrandt in there. So I think this won't. I was watching an interview with Megan O'Leary, and I think it was Den Thomas. She asked Den Thomas if this was a good opponent, if he thought this was a good opponent for Cody Garbrandt as his introduction at 125, and I'm like, absolutely not. Think about why she's asking it that way. Why she's asking that question. Because this is absolutely a bad opponent for Garbrandt. And if he's able to pull it off, my hat's off to him. But this is a bad opponent, especially at a new weight class. Adjusting to the speed of these guys at a lower weight class, man. I mean, yeah, you train with people this fast, but I don't know, man. There's a lot of small guys at the gym where Cody trains, but I don't know. I just don't know. I don't think it's a good idea to fight somebody like Kai Kara France in your first fight at 125. And then we got the return of Miranda Mavericks taking on Erin Blanchfield. Mavericks coming off a loss, I would say a nonsense loss. Nonsense split decision loss to fucking Macy Barber. I thought Maverick clearly won that fight. It's pretty ridiculous. But here she is in her return fight. I think she should make easy work of Blanchfield. Yes, she should. That's what I believe. Those are my predictions for UFC 269. I cannot wait to see it. And before we get out of here, I got, the other day, the homie Rue The Poet hit me up on Instagram. Sent me some of his music here. He just dropped a new project called, it's called No Beat Is Safe Volume 1. I was listening to some of it before, let me see what happened. Yeah. I was about to play that UFC video I was talking about. The mixtape the link he sent me, he told me it's just, he told me it's on YouTube. It's called No Beat Is Safe. Told him I was going to play a song here, so here we are with, let's see, what's, ooh, no. Actually, I don't know. Actually, damn, I don't even want to, I'm going to have to play some other shit some other time, because the beats that are not safe are industry beats. You know what? They're industry beats. I didn't even know it when I was listening to it. I don't really listen to a lot of these artists, so I don't know. I guess, yeah. Fuck. Damn. Yeah, we can't. We can't play that here, maybe, but next week. Rue The Poet, I will go through your stuff on. Gotta have some stuff on. He sent me more links here. Let's go to the link tree. Let's go to the link tree because, yeah, I'm not on Spotify. Oh, he's on Tidal. He's on Tidal. Let's play some Rue The Poet here. It's called YGBY. You gotta be you.
Girl, she told me she needed some space. Had to accept how she felt, but as sweet as it is, but I had to relate. Look at all the pictures of life that we make. Beauty and the pain we create. Everything I feel is what I make.
Wait, hold on. Is this
like I never get a break. I guess I gotta skate like an old school credit roll.
I think that's like a preview. Yeah, this is the full song. So this is Rue The Poet, Abby Jean, the project.
Just got a call from a girl. She told me she needed some space.
Album's called Creative Space and Other Stuff. Shout out to Rue The Poet for reaching out to me. Turn this up a bit.
I guess I gotta skate like an old school credit roll. Flow nice, but I know I'm getting better though. But I overthink thoughts and forget what I'm taught. Even though that I really gotta let it go. Knowing that I know better though. The way on life like a check from the federal is a life not credible. Living suicide, you don't need a medical card. Yeah. Take a look at your life. Are you really being you? Are you just caught in the phase and amazed at what everybody wants you to do? Yeah, just live life Willy Wonka to do. Man, to get here, man, it took more than a few. Boom from the bass and an organ or two. Man, it's all was recorded for you. Every day I look outside my window, dreaming of those places that I'm gonna go. Baby, every day I look outside my window, dreaming of the places that I'm gonna go. You gotta be you, you. You gotta be you. You gotta be you. You gotta be you. You gotta be you. See, you gotta fall in love with the life you live. Get involved no matter who is liking it. There's no need for you to psych and trick. I might can spit, but life's been a hike and shit. On the falls, Cuban vibes, black man, make a plan on the rise. Find a queen, kiss the sky, hovering another wing. I'm blessed to fly to so I gotta bring the church in. Like Johnny McClurkin, I'm speaking the word is for certain. I just gotta put the work in. But that's past tense cause we here now. Tell the hater catch tears on the rebound. Start loving yourself and put it under your belt. Every day I look outside my window. Dreaming of the places that I'm gonna go. These places I know that I'm gonna go. Every day I look outside my window. Dreaming of the places that I'm gonna go. We've all been burned so many times in the past, but keep on trying to crawl out of these holes. They're so base, so brutal, baby. Been tripped out so many times, so embrace these highs. Never forget your spirit, and never forget your love. Do not oppress your life. I'm telling you, it's gonna be alright. You gotta be you. You gotta be you. You gotta be you. You gotta be you.
Yo, that shit was fire. That shit was pretty fucking fire. I've honestly never heard that before. That moment right there, that was pretty fucking fire. That was Rue the Poet. Rue the Poet. R-U-E the Poet. Rue the Poet. If you guys don't know, check him out. He's got music everywhere. Spotify, Tidal, Apple Music, YouTube. He just dropped a new music mixtape. I didn't play that here because it's got the beats, the copywritten beats on it. So I did not play it here. I think he's got the remixes, so he can play them on his channel. But check that out. It's called the No Beat Is Safe Volume 1. That's Rue the Poet. Shout out to him for reaching out to me. Music's dope. Thank you so much for reaching out to me. If you guys want to follow this podcast on Instagram and Twitter, it's at Babylon5Pod. You can follow my personal account at My Name's Jermaine. You can email this podcast at Babylon5podcast at gmail.com. Sorry, I threw too many ads in there, so it's Babylon5podcast at gmail.com. If you guys are on Spotify, go ahead and favorite this episode. Do everything, add it to your own personal playlist. Do everything to let Spotify know you love this podcast. Let Apple Podcasts know you love this podcast. If that's wherever you listen to this podcast, let them know that you love this podcast. If you guys are on Twitch, go ahead and follow me at twitch.tv/Babylon5. You guys should go buy some merchandise right now. Go to teespring.com/stores/BOFpod-shop. Cop some baby clothes or whatever the fuck you need. And then lastly, go to patreon.com/Babylon5pod. Become a patron before those prices go up. And as I said, my name is Jermaine. This is episode 120. 120. No Pigeons. My lovely, lovely wife and I are about to go to a nice little Krampusnacht celebration. If I die at the Krampusnacht celebration, like if something happens, then because I'm gonna already have this uploaded, then y'all are gonna hear this like, oh my God, here he is talking about. Yeah, hopefully not. But yep, that's it. And I hope you guys have a fantastic week, fantastic rest of your year, fantastic next year, and I'll see you guys next week. I'll see you when I see you. I'll holla.
Chant down Babylon kingdom, team make we chant down Vatican now. Bang, bling, bling, chant down